Hey, I'm Jake McNeal. I'm the creator of Crosswalk the game, and you're watching my 4th episode on my Devlog series for my upcoming game, Crosswalk Joyride.
So I recently discovered that there's a much better way of displaying text than the one that's built into Unity, and it's an asset and it's called Text Mesh Pro. Unity has adopted it and they've built it into the UI system, but for some reason I've only ever been using the text when I should have been using the Text Mesh Pro. So I converted my Jake's Pixel font and made it into a thing that Text Mesh Pro could use. And boy, can you see the difference between these when they're like side by side. I mean, the quality and the clarity is just, it's unbelievable how bad Unity's was originally. But moving on, I wanted to create a main game hub that will display the user's score and a few other things, including their speed and fuel. My first rendition of this displayed some of the necessary elements. However, when I decided that I needed to display a few more things, the design, it just had to go. I started fresh on a new design, and in my opinion, it's leaps and bounds ahead of the first one. I like it, but, you know, if you guys have opinions about it, I'm open for suggestions. I started off today by creating a script that would deal with the getters and setters for things in the game that will need to be saved between each session. I then focused my attention back at the game hub. I added an animation to bring in the hub after the user presses start, but now I needed the save data to be displayed on the game hub. I decided that I would always show how many coins and rubies the player has, and this way, if the user was trying to earn enough coins to purchase an upgrade, they would be able to see exactly when they have accomplished their goal. I then went to work on the score. I decided to base the score off of the distance the player travels, with an added bonus for every coin the user picks up. I then went and replaced the old text in the Game Over menu with the Text Mesh Pro text. You can see how much better this is, and it makes the standard Unity text look really horrible. I then created a script that would take the score and the high score and show them on the Game Over screen. And these will need to be animated with sound effects later, but at the moment, it's nice to see your score. I wanted to create a fun way of viewing your final score, so I represented the score by time.delta time and added 10,000 to it. And this means that your score will count up by 10,000 points every second until reaching your final score. And this could possibly be too slow, and maybe in the future I'll rework it to be a little faster. But for now it's good, and I then wanted to make the high score jump out at you if you beat it. So after the score finishes incrementing, I created an animation for the high score that would obviously only play if you beat the high score. But I almost immediately started running into some issues with the animation never ending. And I didn't really understand it. It wasn't set on a loop, so I didn't really get why it was just continuously playing over and over again. But after some digging, I realized that I had made a mistake in my animator, and while testing, I had set it to start from any state, and I had forgotten to delete it and only have it play following the last animation that it played. So after deleting the reference to the any state, my animation worked splendidly. I do think it needs a little bit more flair, but that's all the time I have for today. I started off today by creating a script that would deal with the fuel tank and minus fuel from it. I then added this to the main game hub so the slider would go down alongside the amount of fuel that you still had. I then went and made it so if you ran out of fuel, a game over would appear. However, after doing this, I ran into a glitch that would spawn a game over screen again after the first one was exited. This was really weird, but I was able to fix it after some digging. I then went to create an icon so the user can upgrade the tank capacity. I couldn't really think of a better way to illustrate the tank, so I just basically did a recoloring of the fuel icon. I can change this in the future, but for now, it'll work. And I then added the functionality there, and there were some spelling mistakes, but I'll fix those eventually. So now I just need a way for the player to obtain the fuel so that they can keep going, but I'll have to do that on Thursday. I started today by creating a 3D model of the fuel icon to go into the actual game. I wanted it to look as close to the original as possible, so I decided to try and make the 3D model look like pixel art. And this will hopefully do two things. Make the player remember what grabbing the icon will do, and it will also simultaneously draw the user's attention to it due to it being of a different style from the rest of the game. And I kept it the same colors and just made a quick UV map of the image to apply the texture to it in the game. From here, I went ahead to add functionality. I gave the game object a box collider and set it as a trigger. I then edited my collision script to allow for a fuel collision. And this collision script will destroy the game object and then reward the player with some fuel. The amount of fuel will have to be adjusted later, but for now I'm adding half of the amount of the original tank capacity. And of course, I set limits based on the tank capacity to make sure that the user would actually want to upgrade the tank. I'd like to thank you for watching this video. It means a lot to me. And if you like what you see, you can check out some of my social media sites. And if you want to play one of my games, you can play Crosswalk the game on the App Store, and a link will be in the description below. Anyway, thanks for watching.